Hi, my name is Miller Rhodes, and if you've caught any of my other videos, you know that my channel is about personal development and some law of attraction. So today what I want to do is give you a personal development plan assignment. And what I did is I did this for myself. It's a new year, and I don't always do New Year's resolutions, but this year I decided to do it because there's some pretty important goals that I'm trying to accomplish in order to improve the quality of my life. And also, I have a wife and a young daughter, so I want to improve the quality of their lives too by making progress in a specific set of areas. So, as part of your personal development plan assignment, what I have found is that there are basically 6 areas of improvement that if you're making small improvements in these areas, they don't have to be big, but you're doing it all simultaneously. You could focus on one or two a little bit more than the others, but just be doing a little bit of something in each area. You're going to feel as if you're making larger strides because they all work together. They're all cohesive. They're all symbiotic. They're all cumulative. 1 plus 1 equals 5, basically. So what those areas of improvement are financial, physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, and social. And by the way, even if you're an atheist, you can be spiritual. So we're not going to limit ourselves based upon our religious beliefs or race or gender or anything of that sort. These things can be done by anyone and can be customized to your particular needs and your particular situation in life. So I'm going to show you what I'm trying to do, and that should help me to explain what these areas are in a little bit more detail. So in the financial area, who doesn't want to make more money and have less debt? So as it turns out, there was a period in my life where I accumulated a lot of debt. I paid off about 80% of that up to this point, most of that coming in the past 5 years. And so my goal is over the next year to pay off at least 50% of my remaining debt. So what I do is I came up with an amount that's more than the minimum that I pay to my debt every month so that it comes down. And whenever I get a little bit of extra money in my hands, I'm more aggressive in terms of how I pay off that debt. And I also save money too. So what I do is when I get a little bit of extra money, I do a 50-50 split. I put 50% in savings and I put the other 50% towards my debt. Let me go a little bit further on that. Actually, let's just say I put 45% towards debt, 45% towards savings, and then 10% is for me. I go out and I get something that I want, because if you just save and you don't have any fun, then you will sabotage your progress, because the fun side of you will begin to die and it will start screaming and it will want to have fun, and then you'll go out and you'll binge. And that happens with a lot of people. On the other hand, if you're constantly having fun and not saving any money or getting rid of any debt, then you're going to come back to that and be depressed and not going to move towards your financial goals, and nobody wants that either. So what I intend to do is focus on saving more money and paying off debt. And what I came up with is it doesn't really matter how much money you earn. You could start off saving as little as $5 a week. You will see the progress building up. And then if you get a raise at work or some money falls into your hands, well, then add more to your savings. That's going to be your freedom plan. You know, this is money that will take care of you in case you're ever unemployed. This is money that one day might allow you to not even need a job. It's amazing how much it accumulates. So I think the big financial areas, the 3 of them are, if you can be moving towards finding a better job if you don't like the one you have, there are things you can do to move towards making more money, like maybe start start a new business, develop other revenue streams. And then if you have debt, begin just steadily getting rid of it. It doesn't have to be super aggressive, but just make sure you're paying more than the minimums and not making more debt by going out and buying things that maybe you can put off buying. And finally, save more money, because a regular means of savings is the surest way to financial security. Now, physical. Everyone should do some form of physical exercise. My goal was to continue exercising about 5 or 6 times a week. I always take a day off because I'm 45, I'm a little bit older. And my doctor told me I need to lose 20 pounds, and I can see I need to lose 20 pounds too. I've actually lost 5 pounds already, and just from that I feel better. So if you're a little bit overweight, it's good to lose the weight steady and exercise, because you will feel better. I've also noticed that when I exercise, I get more creative ideas, and I also tend to, besides feeling better, I'm more mentally sharp. When I go to work, if I've exercised before I go to work, I'm sharper at work. I solve problems more easily. So that you can already see the physical and the mental interact. Mental. Perform some sort of mental training. I have these CDs that a guy named Stephen Pierce used to sell called Optimization. One helps to improve your IQ. It sounds kind of crazy, but it actually works. I found that I was solving problems faster when I started using these. Stayed stuck on things not as long. I'm a computer programmer, and so I'm solving problems on a daily basis, and I just became more creative and was able to solve problems faster. So another CD enhances your creative side. Another CD is about thinking more like a millionaire, and they really do work. I don't know if he sells them anymore, but I'm trying to talk to him about maybe being able to offer those to you if you're interested in trying these out, because I really recommend them. If you don't want to do something like that, read. Read on a daily basis. Read 2 to 3 times a week. Read to go to sleep. Work your brain. Work your brain. And it will lead to things like being able to earn more money, taking having a less stressful life, those types of things. Spiritual. Now, I go to church, so my goal is to go to church more and pray more, because I've missed church on occasion. I don't go as much as I like. That's me personally. If you're not into going to church or religion or anything of that sort, then meditate. Meditation is good for everyone. I even do a little bit of meditation, and I'm going to see if I can find a good meditation program that maybe will work for you. So I'll be on the lookout, and I'll report on that via video if I need to. Emotional. Now, emotional growth is sort of tricky. I have found that I have gotten more emotionally stable, have less stress, feel less stress, and deal with stressful situations better by doing personal development, by doing law of attraction exercises, and by just taking a step back and looking at a situation as if I'm not involved in it, and always believing that things are going to work out in the best way they can. I don't just hope that things will work out. I expect that things are going to work out. I expect that I'm going to reach my goals. I am an optimist by nature, and being optimistic is realistic. Terrible things happen in the world, but that does not mean they need to happen to you. And some things are not avoidable, but I do not walk around fearing what's going to happen to me. I'm always striving towards my goals and always seeking to have a more mature perspective on the things that happen. Finally, social. If you want to make more money, if you want to feel more anchored in the world, expand your network. Professional, entrepreneurially, friends-wise, because the bigger network you have, the more people you have to lean on during any of the tough times in life, whether maybe you're unemployed, so you can find a job a lot faster because you can go to your network. Maybe you might need a loan for something. Well, maybe somebody can point you in that direction. I have found, because I have an online business, that by constantly expanding my network, opportunities that I wouldn't have found any other way seem to end up in my lap. And those have been professional and entrepreneurial opportunities. And so, for you personally, if you can take these 6 areas and just write your own little, couple of sentences in each area, what you want to do, write it down, review it, look at it daily, do something small to, to move towards achieving goals in these areas. There's a guy who I know who he was about 50 pounds overweight, and what he did is he just decided that he was going to run for a minute every day. It's easy to just go run for a minute. And he, if he had wanted to start an exercise program, that would be too daunting. He would have bailed on working out on a daily basis. That was way too crazy to get into. He wasn't really motivated to do that, but he figures he could run for a minute every day. So he started out doing that. Then he started to feel a little bit better. Then after a couple weeks, he'd run for 2 minutes every day. And did it real slow, but by the end of 6 months, he was running for about 30 minutes a day. And he had dropped half of that weight, 25 pounds, real slow, and found that he was starting to like exercising. So set goals and do some things that are real low impact in the beginning, that are achievable, just little things you can do on a daily basis. And what I'm going to try to do is maybe go into more detail in some of these areas so that maybe it's a little bit more obvious what you can do. Like, for example, saving. If you don't think you make a lot of money or you're living paycheck to paycheck, just try to save $5 a week. If that's even too much, save $1 a week. Put it somewhere where you're not going to touch it. Forget about the money once you do it. Once you get to about $100, put it into an account that draws interest. I know savings accounts aren't paying too well today, but believe me, it'll affect how you feel. And making small progress in these areas is all about feeling like you're making progress in life. So, and then if you feel better, you will be more optimistic, and then you will move towards your goals faster. So, I hope that helped you out, and I look forward to talking to you again.